I've told you quite a lot about the Bristol Unicorns and how they eventually became world champions. Well, on the way to becoming world champions, they'd done quite a few engagements that were paid that helped for expenses. And I've written a little story of one incident, and I've called it A Day by the Sea. I hope you like it. It's quite long, but I enjoy doing it. I hope you enjoy reading it, or listening to it, I should say. A Day by the Sea. Brian Woodman of EMI Bingo rang up Dave Rogers to say, "Can you bring your band down to Plymouth? We would like to hear your band play." Dave said, "What time will you need us? And is there a place to rehearse? And can I ring you tomorrow? I must ask the boys and girls first." "Of course," said Brian to David, saying yes to each thing he had asked, "but be by the doors at 6:20 to be on the stage at past." And so at the very next practice, Dave said, "If you all agree, we will load up and leave Bristol early and have a nice day by the sea." So the Unicorns set out one morning in a bus they obtained for the job. They would have a nice day out in Bristol and perhaps make the band a few bob. About 80 miles out of Bristol, with everyone happy and gay, they said, "What's wrong with this gearbox? I can't get the gears in. No way." But he managed to keep the coach going till they reached the next roundabout. The kids all filed into the services and left Dave to sort the coach out. Now with Dave was a young Michael Bracey, a mechanic efficient and quick. He said, "The oil's low in the gearbox, and that's why the gearbox sounds sick." They said, "I know you're good, Mike, and do everything by the book, but how do you know that's the reason?" Mike said, "I've just had a look." So Dave went with Clive, an instructor, for a gallon or more of gear oil, but all they could get was half litres in plastic with tops of tin foil. Now Tony, your race reporter, was travelling down in his car, for he had had an invite from Brian and was just stopping off for a jar. Quickly he sized up the problem. "That's not true," Mike had to explain. Then he dashed off to collect Clive and David. Too late, it had started to rain. Now it's back to the coach with the gear oil, the gearbox now full to the top. Each part replaced as it should be, just to find that the problem won't stop. They said, "There's just one solution, Mike. Will you phone up your boss? Ask him to send a new coach out. We just have to suffer the cost." Mike told Mr. Lansdowne the problem, although it was noon Saturday. He said, "Just give me 10 minutes, I'll soon have a coach on the way." One problem over, another was what could we do with our bus? We can't leave it here on the forecourt. The management might make a fuss. But we still had to get down to Plymouth and put on our music display. It may be a week, even longer, before we could take it away. Mike said, "Look, Dave, I can mend it, but today it will have to stay here." Turning to Tony, Dave said, "Have a word in somebody's ear." So Tony then went through the channels until the manager came. He said, "I'm in charge of this forecourt, and Mr. Vaughan is my name." Tony went back over the problem, trying so hard to explain, while Mr. Vaughan made the right noises, like "dear, dear," and "oh, what a shame." But he wasn't just sympathetic, and he did not make any fuss. He said, "Leave it where you can see it. There will be no charge for your bus." We didn't have very much longer to wait for the coach. What relief! And who do you think was driving? A great friend of ours named Steve. Stephen was home when the call came, enjoying a well-deserved rest. When he heard, "It's the Unicorn Youth Band," he answered our call of distress. So the Unicorn Band got to Plymouth. They never let anyone down. They saw the shops through the coach windows, but they didn't get to look round the town. And though we left Bristol early, with plenty of time that was free, we spent so long at the services, we did not get our day by the sea. Now this second one is called Motorway Services, and it's the same place, but it's what happened with the manager. We all know motorway cafes, or services for want of a word. They're pricey and dirty, the assistants are surety, at least that's the things we have heard. But some places just aren't like that. Though people don't hear that, bear that in mind. Just once or twice I found one that's nice, with assistants both cheerful and kind. There's one place we found that is different. EXETER on the M4. The staff will please you, or at least they try to, the moment you step through the door. We were travelling by coach down to Plymouth when the gearbox went for a chop. The gears became harder. We pulled into Granada, and that's where the coach had to stop. The manager came out to see us. That's more than most managers do. He said, "Don't dismay. There's nothing to pay. The least we can do to help you." Although our problems aren't over, still with a few we are pressed. You've helped us to smile and made it worthwhile to continue to cope with the rest. So to Mr. Vaughan and his assistants, each of us think you're grand. We would all like to say for last Saturday, thank you from the Unicorn Band.